Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. I seem to have caught a bit of cold. I've been coughing a lot, and I just took some medicine to hopefully help with that. My nose has been really stuffy, which is funny because I was planning on going out and doing some shopping, exploring today, and yeah, I'm gonna stay inside, especially since it's cold and rainy out there. And yeah, but I did want to talk to you guys. Um, so what did y'all think of part one of chapter 5, episode 5? I think we learned a lot of stuff. And what I kind of wanted to talk about was, like I've watched other video essays or reviews where people are like, either Tabitha can do no wrong or Wayne can do no wrong, and it's like, they're both kind of sus. Like, don't get me wrong, I fully believe the original plan was for Tabitha to invite us to Perlan's funeral, have us stay the week, and then at the end of the week, probably use us to, probably shut us in the room that we saw. Which, again, I love the callback. I love the fact that we finally found the room. Like, remember we saw it during the ghost hunt. But that was through Charles Jr.'s memories. And so, as a result, things might have been messed up a little bit, or maybe he didn't remember so well. I also do wonder, and I don't remember if we ever got the answer, because I don't think we did. I think he just showed up, was crawling up the trellis to get into the manor to see Edwardine, and he got caught by whoever this prisoner was. Now, I'm guessing it was Teddy at the time, but it could have been whoever, whatever is possessing Wim. And I also had another idea. I don't know if it's so much a theory as it's a hypothesis, so it's not hugely far along, but it's a potential. I think that the spirit that is inhabiting Wayne, I think that it is Edwardine's secret child. Because apparently, we see the medical records in episode 4, and it says he was stillborn. And now I'm like, was he? Because, it's like you can fake medical records, or you can, but especially somebody like Enoch Scarlet, who was probably super rich or whatever, could have bought off whoever the doctor was at the time. Because it definitely wasn't Dr. Kelly. But, so, I just wonder if it's him. because of two things Wayne says to you once you find him. You can ask him about the doll, and he says, she liked it, so I liked it. Which, I mean, think about it. If you're a little girl and you're talking to this boy in the wall, and you've excited that you have a friend, and, it's very entirely possible that she may have even made a deal with her mom, with Edwardine. Hang on. This keeps popping up, and I don't know why. But yeah. So, and the fact that Edwardine, that they had that dinner with just the two of them, apparently, after she'd been talking to the boy. So makes me wonder if, I don't remember what his first name was, but he was definitely, I believe he was Charles Jr.'s son. Which, again, I do wonder if Charles, I don't know if Charlie knew about his son. Like, from what I remember from episode 3, he didn't even know Edwardine was pregnant until, and also keep in mind the time period, back then it was more, take you away to have the baby in secret, and then the daughter doesn't come back, but they needed the daughter. So, they probably, I'm assuming, compromised. Because she was probably like, no, I'm keeping my son. And so they probably, okay, but we have to keep him secret. He can't be wandering around the manor. Which, again, is, like, really, really sad when you think about it. But it does make me wonder. Because, like, apparently Charlie didn't even know that Edwardine was pregnant in episode 3. And then when he did find out, he was killed right after that. And, like, Edwardine seemed sad about doing it, but, like, she had to do it. She had to get rid of him. So, makes me wonder if, her mom was, the one bringing down the hammer and, you need to do this, and, like, if you think about it, I mean, Tabitha's been told all her life that she has a very important job, that she has to be on top of everything. She has to be on top of the banner. She has to be on top of the mine. She has to make sure, because, she's even said to our player character, she's been like, I'm the one holding this all together. If I just quit and leave, the town will collapse. Which is probably what she's been told, but might actually also be true, which leads to the whole thing with Sybil and Kanika, and the fact that, like, I played through all my early playthroughs up to the point where I recorded for you guys, and so far, I can't find a point in the playthrough where I clearly remember Sybil. And even Wayne, like, he doesn't use her name. He calls her the witch. And why does Wayne remember her? But we and everyone else in town doesn't. Like, my heart nearly broke the first time. 'Cause you can go into town. First time I went into town, it was by myself. And I can't remember what I made up my mind to do, but it was before I decided to go through the list of someone we can trust. And Miles approaches and is like clearly upset and knows something's wrong, but he can't remember what. And so I'm just like, oh, it's like, number one, it's like, whoa, Sybil's tea goes that far? Like, I know she can make you forget or get fuzzy about certain things, but I always thought it was very, like, forget about this, or don't worry about this, or whatever. But, and like, the other thing that kind of blows my mind is, like, in our past playthroughs, Miles has always shown with Sybil. Like, Sybil is always getting on Kanika's back about not taking care of her brother. And, when her brother gets into trouble, Kanika gets in trouble for it. And so, I originally thought, oh, Miles is a golden child, and Kanika is the scapegoat. There's something deeper than that. Because, like, as a mom, like, and I know there's series out there that say Sybil isn't really their mother. Like, I've seen everything from, like, Sybil married their dad once their original mom died, which Sybil may or may not have had a part in. And, like, some of that I'm just kind of like, because there's really no evidence for it yet. But the fact that she would just up and abandon her son, who up to this point she's been seen as up to this point that she's been seen as what is it I'm trying to think of? I don't know. It's like blank for me right now. Oh no, I drank Sybil's tea. No. But, like I did drink some hot water and medicine, so hopefully, I think a lot of it is just I'm tired. I didn't sleep that well last night, and so I'm kind of like, But yeah, so, at the fact that that kind of makes me lean more toward maybe she's not their mother, or maybe she's Kanika's mom, but she's not Miles's mom. I don't know. Like, I just find that weird. But I also, like I said, find it weird that when we finally get to where Wayne is and he's like, did you enjoy the show and stuff? And it's like, Well, yeah, it was a show. And, like, one of the things we can say to them is, like, isn't this all a little bit dramatic? And it's like, I hardly picked that line because, obviously, whoever is in Wayne's body is not, did not have a good time. And like I said, my working theory is that Wayne is the child, the boy in the wall. Because you could also say, because he says that about the doll, about Alexander's doll, and he also says something to the effect of, I was in there for a long, long time. Which also kind of makes me wonder, like, did they just transfer his spirit into an available corpse? Did they do that? Like, it's very obvious. Especially because in episode 2, or at the beginning of episode 3, I think, before we go into the mines, when we're questioning the miners, people can say, that doesn't sound like the Wayne I know. The Wayne I know was always really fun and made a lot of jokes and that kind of stuff. And it's like, so, I mean, we kind of figured it out. Whoever we're talking to, it's not Wayne. He's using, he, she, they, whatever, are using Wayne to move around, to have a bit of freedom. And I did like that he said that no one can leave Scarlet Hollow. Which makes me wonder if the seals had something to do with it. And also, being that the seals were probably constructed by Enoch, who was, funnily enough, probably a witch himself. He was, because he had messages in a bottle. He had, like, spell jars, message jars. And he was, like, like, he did the thing, followed whoever the witch was at the time. And I don't know if it was the same witch, if it's been passed through down generations. It also makes me wonder if it's been passed down through generations, why does Sybil not want Knika to follow in their footsteps? Why is Sybil trying her best to keep Knika unaware of any magic or supernatural or anything like that until we come on the scene? And again, like I said, I don't know. Maybe in 2 days we'll know. I'm very excited to see Tea Train now, and the last half of this episode will drop on the 20th, or should drop on the 20th. So fingers crossed. Also, I do plan on uploading, playing through our other version. I think we had Emily was our other playthrough. And, like, I do not remember what our traits were for Emily. Like, what did it say we had the physical prowess trait? But I don't remember if we had Kenai, Booksmart. I think we had Booksmart, yeah. I think we had Powerful Build and Booksmart. I'm pretty sure. But again, I'm not like 100% sure. But like, I also like that most of the time we can move those boxes and get into Edwardine's room. Except for when we don't have Powerful Build. And we have, hang on. Except for when we don't have Powerful Build. And like, it's been kind of fun to go back and replay these save files. Or not replay, but basically continue on. Because, like, I forgot a lot of... Like, I forgot that in my very first playthrough, I stayed overnight with Stella. So if you do that, Stella comes with you to explore the forbidden area. She, like, breaks in. You don't have to worry about being kidnapped by Wayne or anything like that. But I also do like when you're alone, whether or not you have talked animals, and Dustin and his mom are there when you wake up. And that if you have talked animals, they'll go with you for a little while. So, but yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I don't fully trust either Tabitha or Wayne. But here's the thing. I think Tabitha was kept in the dark. I truly believe that she doesn't know everything that she's supposed to. I think she knows what happened to Wayne, and she, like, refuses to talk about it because she knows it's a bad thing. But think about it. She's been by herself under Perlan's thumb until Perlan died and we showed up. And, like, depending on how we get along with Tabitha, how we progress her relationship, you can get to the point where she goes with you to find Stella at the end of at that curve in the road where her parents died, and can be like, no, fuck Perlan. I'm not going to, at Perlan. I'm not going to let her dictate my life anymore, And it's like, I like that. I like that you can see cracks between the thing. But the other thing that I figured, and this is a bit of a spoiler, so if you guys have a playthrough where you play and Stella comes with you, plug your ears or move ahead a couple minutes. But, so my first playthrough, Stella talks, after we see everything, Stella talks me into, going to talk to Tabitha. And Stella, at this point it's still, Tabitha wouldn't, no, she's still in her Tabitha's so nice, Tabitha's, that kind of thing. And so she's like, excuse me. So the two of them, she goes with you to talk to Tabitha, and it leads to Tabitha having you arrested. And at first I was like, wait, what? What happened? But then it clicked. we spent the night with her ex, who she probably still has feelings for, based on other playthroughs, where she's worried about Stella, and she comes with us to try and find her at the end of episode 4. And so, yeah. So, I think that had a lot to do with it. Again, I'm not sure, but it was weird because I was so used to, Tabitha and I are getting along. We're bantering with each other. We're having fun. We're doing all these things. And it's and then Tabitha all of a sudden is yeah, you're going to jail. Funnily enough, she doesn't arrest Stella, which I find really interesting. So, again, feelings. But, yeah, when we go to Edward Dean's room and we find the cards and everything from her dad, makes me wonder if her dad is still alive. And that also brings up an interesting thing, because according to Wayne, no one can leave town. But apparently, Tabitha's dad was able to. So, again, I don't fully trust Wayne. I don't fully trust Tabitha, but I trust Tabitha a little bit more than I do Wayne. Wayne is down here, Tabitha's here, It's and I find it kind of weird that Wayne just automatically accuses Tabitha. It's why do you think she invited you here? Why, and tries to get to turn against her. And Wayne kind of reminds me of an abusive boyfriend in the sense of he's constantly trying to get us alone. He's constantly trying to get us to work together. He's popping up in areas where no one else can see him. And he's hey, we need to work together. If he just approached and was just now you see what I went through, what Alexandra went through, what Mary Bell went through. We need justice, will you help us? I would have been yeah, let's do it, But, I don't know, I just, there's part of me that is just kind of to the point of, I'm not sure. I don't believe we have all the information yet. But I said, we do find out that there are more seals. And there's at least one place we haven't been to. And that's where, at the end of part 1, that's where we end up heading off to. Even if we get arrested, we're in the back of the cop car, and all of a sudden Sheriff Hugby gets on and is dude, we gotta, I can't remember what term they use, but it's a cop term for bad stuff's going down. Come out here now, we need backup. And it's And, the dude who arrests us is like, hang on, and we take off. So no matter where we go, we end up, whether we run across Miles, whether we go to Dr. Kelly, whether we go to Oscar, whether we go to although I did find it interesting that Oscar is now talking to the seal. Because here's the weird thing. The seal was talking to us, drawing us in. But it didn't seem to have that effect on anybody else. So why is Oscar all of a sudden acting like, oh, we can, I've been talking to it and it's telling me all these interesting things, and I'm just like, considering that Oscar was the one who was like, after we were done with the ghost hunt, after we released Charlie, that he was one who discouraged us, our group, from going back in and check out the seal again. Would the seal have continued to talk to us? Or are the seals destroying us in? And why are they doing that? Why did they not set that up so that the seals would draw us as a skeleton? And also makes me wonder just how many of these seals Tabitha has seen. Because again, I don't think she's seen everything. I don't think she knows everything her family is doing. But at the same time, I do think that she is, she knows stuff. But again, I don't think she knows that her dad sent her cards and stuff. I don't think she knows that her mom, that Pearl Ann, kept those from her. I also do find it funny that Pearl Ann, I'm assuming it was Pearl Ann, who stacked all those boxes up in front of Edward Nayne's room just to make it harder for people to get into that room. And like I said, I also do find it kind of interesting that she knew exactly where to hide them. It was the room already full to the brim of secrets. But I also do find it kind of interesting because Edward Dean's room doesn't look super fancy. And, considering they have a big old room to entertain guests in, and they have this big old mansion that's full of once grand things, you would think Pearl Ann would make sure her daughter had a nice room. But instead, her room almost looks like servants' quarters or like a little girl's room or something. And the fact that she only has a twin bed to sleep in, yeah, I have a feeling she was being punished and was being like, by her mom, who was like, yeah, you're not sleeping with any more guys. Nope. you're Scarlet first and foremost. But again, like I said, I find that weird. And like, I was reading through discussions on Steam about the game, and somebody brought up a really interesting point. Because I played through one round where I went to Dr. Kelly after the whole Reese situation, and I was like, I was going to her to tell her what was going on, to try and get some help. And she gives your character a hug. Dr. Kelly does not give hugs, at least not to full-grown adults. And at first I didn't think anything of it. At first I was like, oh yeah, you guys went through that traumatic experience, so she's probably, No, everybody is acting different than their usual self. I mean, Miles is no more Mr. Tough Guy always on his phone. Avery, I think Avery is kind of the same. I'm trying to remember. I did play through when I went to Avery, and, he was like into stuff and agreed to go with me. And then I did a playthrough where I realized after the fact that it was where my character let Reese run off into the woods. Reese was right outside the manor. He was coming to find us. And so we end up, but here's the weird thing. Because he ends up saying, I hear it calling to me. And like the weird thing is, like in normal, nobody mentions anything about, and yeah, that's probably because they all drink Sybil's tea and they're all, like, there's a block between most of the townspeople and the supernatural. But again, I'm just kind of like, it blows my mind. Like, when you walk onto Main Street and you find out that Sybil's shop is gone. But here's the weird thing. You can remember Sybil. Sybil can be somebody you want to go to get help. So you can remember Sybil, but you don't remember that she is a witch. You don't remember that she has magic powers. And like I said, I want to keep playing because I want to try different things. I want to see if there is a playthrough where you can actually remember who the witch is. Because, like, that's the main task Wayne gives you, is find the witch. She has the pieces, pry them from her hands. And then that leads to an interesting thing. Because where do we first meet Wayne at? Where do we first meet him at? Outside of Sybil's store. Like, and like I said, like, I don't know if it's all a magic spell. I don't know if the store was never there to begin with. I don't know if Sybil was just able to conjure, a store and stuff. But basically, she leaves and goes somewhere with Kanika. And again, like I said, like I don't know if I don't know if they're at Julius Tremaine's place. But yeah, so I'm just really curious about that whole thing. And so, but yeah, there are several questions I have, and I do not trust either Wayne or Tabitha all that much. Although I trust Tabitha just a little bit more. Because, like I said, there's been several playthroughs where I've done where she, I believe, truly cares about us as a person. And she doesn't, like, she's beginning to come around to see us as not just the sacrifice or whatever it is we're going to be at the end of the game. And like I'm fully curious. I'm half tempted to get a bad ending and let my character be sacrificed, whether that ends up with me dying or me becoming the new Wayne or the new vessel for whatever spirit is, you know. Like, I don't know, I'm half tempted. I'm more than half tempted. But yeah, so in just a couple days, we will have the second half of episode 5, and I will make sure that I play that for you guys. Both playthroughs. Although we might finish Beth first, and then have, I can't remember doing Emily or Beth. But either way, I will make sure I get both playthroughs of ours done. But yeah. So, I don't know, that's my thought process. If you guys have any other ideas or if something stood out to you, let me know in the comments. Feel free to discuss amongst yourselves or whatever, you know. But yeah, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna upload the next playthrough, because like I said, I want to do the second playthrough that we did, one where I had Booksmart, to see what happens and all that. But like I said, we do find out some very interesting things, and it's very curious. So, anyway, I'm gonna get this finished and uploaded and all that, and yeah, I will see you guys. Not really sure. At the latest, it's gonna be probably Monday of next week. At the earliest, it'll probably be tomorrow. Or Friday. But yeah, so anyway, I hope you guys are having a great week. And I will talk to you guys later.